Have we found the real father of Lily and Archie, or the real mother? What is going on? Because the documentation and the laws, and I'm going to show you, pertaining those two.
If Meghan truly carried her children, why are the timelines collapsing? If nothing was hidden, why is DL preparing legal protection? And if there's no secret, why does the palace look terrified? Ruth in her podcast said to me the other day when they were looking, they said they were like, I just saw this picture I'd forgotten about when you were so pregnant with Archie. I mean, I gained 65 pounds with both pregnancies. Oh my God. You're so. People love to say Harry is emotional, like it's some cute personality trait, like he's just a soft-hearted prince who cries at documentaries. But the truth, his emotions lately aren't soft at all. They are cracked, jagged, heavy enough to sink him. The people closest to him, what's left of them, say he's barely holding it together. He's not sleeping. He's pacing rooms until sunrise. He's checking the internet like a man waiting for a bomb he already knows he planted himself. And then came that night, the night the illusion completely snapped. His tiny little ankles are bracing themselves in these high heels, but all of my weight was in the front. So, you're just going, how on earth? Like people, how on earth am I not just tipping, face planting? It's like I'm all clinging very close. Everyone talks about Meghan. Everyone talks about Harry. But DL, she's the one name nobody was ever supposed to hear. The woman quietly buried under NDAs, sealed files, and the kind of threats that make people stay silent for life. But DL is done being a ghost, and she's not tiptoeing back into the light. She's kicking the door down, rewriting history going on. Lady Colin Gamble. Well, of course, Dan, we all dumb and blind, and nobody has ever seen Meghan at supposedly 8 months are going down on her harness. According to her, she isn't just some surrogate plucked from a clinic brochure. She claims she is the biological mother of Archie and Libet. Her words not whispered, spoken, firm, calm, delivered like someone who has rehearsed the truth for years because she had no one to tell it to. She says she has the DNA trail, the clinic booking records, the transport notes, all the pieces that were quietly ripped out of the official story to make her disappear. 5 or 6 in heels and bouncing back up without any help from Harry, who's standing. And here's the ugly part. She says she was erased on purpose. No final payment, no support, no post-birth medical care, nothing. In her words, they took the children and removed me from the story like I was a mistake. And if even half of that is true, it means the so-called fairy tale wasn't built on glamour. It was built on silence. Secretly erases her first names from Archie's birth certificate. Rachel Meghan was taken out to leave just Her Royal Highness. Her decision to speak now, it's not emotional. It's revenge dressed as clarity. And sources say her revelations aren't just damaging. They could detonate the version of events the palace has been defending for years. 2018 wasn't just the start of Meghan's motherhood journey. According to DL, it was the year the real story was buried alive. The Duchess of Sussex. And what they basically did is that they added at the bottom of the birth certificate there's a space. It says in space 4, His Royal Highness Henry Charles Alberta David, Duke of Sussex, corrected to His Royal Highness. DL says the arrangement didn't feel shady at first, just secretive. The kind of secretive rich families use when they don't want their business leaking into the tabloids. A middleman approached her quietly, offering privacy, protection, and a payment that made her feel like everything would be handled the right way. High-profile parents, discreet clinic, fully confidential. It all sounded professional until it didn't. And also she definitely did not gain 65 pounds. A feist of all in the first pregnancy. She says the clinic operated like a bank vault. No names, only initials, different doctors, different staff, nobody knowing the full story. Every visit felt like walking into a world where everything was controlled, measured, and designed to leave no fingerprints behind. DL went through the nausea, the kicks, the swollen feet, the sleepless nights, all with the understanding that there was supposed to be dignity in the process, but she claims the real plan was never dignity. It was a razor. Prince Henry Charles Albert David Duke of Sussex in Space 7 Rachel Meghan Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex corrected to Her Royal Highness. According to DL, the moment she delivered the atmosphere changed. The warmth vanished. The gratitude vanished. She says she was treated like a loose end that needed tightening. A thank you, a dismissal, and a promise of final settlement that never came. She only gained weight after the birth, because up to the birth there's not a photograph of her. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. Then she watched the announcement on TV. Meghan glowing in white, Harry smiling, the world cheering. Only DL claims the baby they were showing off was already 2 weeks old and had been in her arms before being in Meghan's. That was the day DL realized she wasn't part of the story. She was part of the cover-up. So, she removed her names. That was done about 11 days after the baby was born. And that is incredibly shady because when Archie was introduced to the world, everything about the scene looked like a scripted magical moment. Meghan in perfect white, Harry beaming, reporters smiling, a royal baby presented like a dream. But DL claims the dream was staged and the truth was far from Kensington ready. On this in the second a supposed pregnancy or magnary as you like to call it, Lady C no. According to her, she delivered Archie quietly in Colorado, far away from the royal press pack weeks before the UK announcement. If that's true, the Meghan just went into labor. Headlines weren't journalism. They were theater. The palace fed the world mixed statements that contradicted each other so badly, they looked like a crisis team improvising. All of the other royal birth certificates of other royal babies, even the Queen's, they have her names on it. But Meghan Markle, one announcement said Meghan had gone into labor minutes earlier. Another confirmed the child had already been born. No doctors were seen, no maternity ward photos, no hospital staff stepping forward, which is unheard of for a royal birth. The public shrugged it off as a couple wanting privacy. DL says it was something far more deliberate, a narrative built to solidify Meghan's image as a glowing, newly delivered royal mom. It's like Her Royal Highness, the Duchess of Sussex. This will bring to a couple of things that I'm going to talk about very shortly because now we're going to Lily and things are about to kick up a notch in July 2020. And let's be real, Meghan standing in heels, hair blown out, no swelling, no exhaustion, just 48 hours after labor. It raised eyebrows even then. But DL says she watched the broadcast from home, stunned, because she knew the truth. She had delivered the child weeks before. Every detail that seemed odd suddenly looks like part of a cleanup job. And DL says she watched the illusion unfold. Powerless but not blind. A lot of people assumed that that's them. She looks like a rice pick. I'm sorry. No off. I feel bad because that's a rice-picking hat. I know but anyways, so they were spotted outside of the clinic, and she came out with a little pouch. If DL's story is fabricated, it should fall apart under paperwork. But according to her, the paperwork is exactly where the cracks begin to show. She says her name was scrubbed from everything, erased so thoroughly you'd think she never existed. She claims someone told her directly, "No trace of you can remain." That is not clinic language. That is cover-up language. Fast forward months later and suddenly Meghan's name disappears from Archie's birth certificate. Her spokesperson blamed clerical adjustments. Please, clerical errors don't quietly remove a mother's name from a royal birth document. They certainly don't happen after media attention dies down. But DL says this wasn't an accident. It was an administrative wipe done to prevent a legal loophole from blowing open. Dental thing is a dental appointment. This would have been around the time that she had the alleged miscarriage. Guys, so you know, a lot of people assume that was because of her teeth. DL claims she saved everything. Emails, text confirmations, clinic appointment logs, travel receipts, contracts, NDA language, even timestamps. At the time, she thought she was protecting herself. Now, those files are allegedly the only thing keeping her safe, and the only thing that could shatter the palace's sanitized timeline. There's also the place where they were. There was a fertility clinic at also. And this is just my opinion. Everything is always on July 1st. She lost her child on July 1st. Sources who have seen small portions of the documents say they are deeply concerning. One insider allegedly said off record, if even one document is legitimate, the monarchy has a problem. And the most damning part, DL claims the missing pieces aren't missing at all. They were taken from her, rewritten, and replaced with a version that removed her from her own story. If she releases what she says she has, it won't just shake the Sussexes, it could ignite a royal earthquake. I mean, obsessed much. Okay, so, about 11 days. Yeah, you recover, and then suddenly there's a fertility clinic. This is the part no palace aide ever wanted to see written, because this is where the story stops being messy and becomes dangerous. If DL's claims are even partially true, if surrogacy was used but never disclosed through the proper constitutional channels, then the issue isn't personal. It's structural. It hits the monarchy at its foundation. To throw people off the fact that she was visiting the fertility clinic. Now, what we're watching here is the infamous Certificate of Live Birth, State of California. Succession laws aren't suggestions. They are rigid, centuries-old frameworks built on verification, witness signatures, public transparency, and official documentation. Any deviation, especially one involving secret births, becomes a constitutional fault line. That California is 104, Colorado is not 106, it's 105. There is Mountbatten Windsor, Lil Diana, Mountbatten Windsor, all in her glory. If DL steps out with evidence, Parliament cannot look away. Royal births, especially those tied to the line of succession, must follow protocol. If the paperwork was altered, backdated, or adjusted to fit a narrative, then officials could face questioning. Committees could be formed. International agencies might ask for clarification on travel documents, hospital records, or passport data. In other words, this stops being about Meghan's biography and becomes about the monarchy's integrity. And then we have the Duke of Sussex, His Royal Highness, as the father of the child. Behind palace doors, advisors are reportedly panicking not about the scandal. Scandals come and go. They are afraid of precedent, afraid that one woman's documents could open the door to a constitutional review the monarchy has spent centuries avoiding. This isn't about Meghan being believed. It's about whether the monarchy can survive the paperwork trail. Because if DL proves the births occurred under another identity or without proper declarations, the crown won't just blush, it will tremble. And of course, Rachel Meghan Markle as the mother of the child. Now, many of you have given me a hard time because you said, for example, in the news of Harry's possible overdose or alleged overdose. Meghan Markle has never been shy about controlling her narrative. She's built an empire on her voice, interviews, podcasts, glossy magazine spreads, carefully curated photos. But now, silence. Thick, calculated, almost suffocating silence. No lifestyle launch, no paparazzi strolls, no new podcast deals. Hollywood insiders say the shift wasn't organic. It was strategic. Not in ChatGPT is not in Grok and stuff like that. So because if it's not there, then it's not true because this is in response to if you have a royal title, if you can include it in a US birth certificate. And producers aren't cutting her off. They are stepping back, watching, waiting to see if DL's story becomes the next global wildfire. No brand wants to be attached to a woman who might soon be accused of rewriting one of the most heavily documented events in royal history. The United States, and not only that, I'm going to tell you why. Because I'm going to show you the law for the birth certificate. What a birth certificate must include. No recognition of foreign titles, birth certificates. U.S. birth certificates are documents recording vital statistics, not social or hereditary titles. Now, even those within Meghan's tight inner circle whisper that her silence isn't strength, it's fear, it's a calculation. They say she's meeting with advisors, reading legal briefs, digging through every document she ever signed. She's not preparing a response. She's preparing for survival, because if DL comes out with proof, Meghan's entire public identity collapses. The humanitarian, the mother, the feminist icon, all of it risks being viewed through the lens of deceit. And that for someone who curated herself so meticulously is a nightmare far more terrifying than any tabloid headline. Classics listed his name on his children's U.S. birth certificate, without the royal title, using his given name instead. I have just shown you Meghan isn't silent because she's above the noise. She's silent because she hears the ticking. Because somewhere out there is a woman holding documents that could redefine everything the world thinks it knows about her. Silence isn't her strategy now. It's her shield. Our Henry, Charles, Albert, David. None of those names are there. And why does that matter? While Meghan retreats into silence, Harry isn't managing his crisis nearly as smoothly. Sources say the prince, who once prided himself on emotional honesty, is now collapsing under the weight of secrets he never thought would explode. Friends describe him as restless, pacing, unable to sleep. Having your name in your child's birth certificate gives you rights, certain rights to your child. Establishes paternity. It gives you, in case you get divorced. One insider claims he's been whispering to confidants, "I just wanted to protect them. I didn't think it would go this far." Harry isn't panicking over surrogacy itself. That isn't shameful. The secrecy, however, is crushing him. The deception, the alternative timelines, the paperwork inconsistencies. It's the kind of chaos he spent years trying to escape when he left the palace that she's posted on her love board, or whatever it's called, of her being grow. She's got to be at least 27 months magnet. Those close to him say he sees DL's looming revelation as a catastrophic reckoning, not for the public, for his family, for his children, for the legacy he thought he was building outside the royal bubble. And that guilt is tearing him apart. He believed the privacy was necessary. He believed the palace couldn't be trusted. But now, with silence collapsing around him and DL preparing to step forward, Harry feels the consequences tightening like a noose. Be about 8 months magnet at the time. Look at her arms. They are stick-thin. She doesn't seem to understand that when women are pregnant, they gain weight. All insiders say he's been withdrawing from friends, skipping commitments, and avoiding even basic public appearances. One described him bluntly. He looks like a man waiting for impact. The irony is brutal. Harry left the monarchy to escape institutional secrecy. Yet here he is drowning in a secret of his own making. Now the walls are closing in. Gain any weight on her bust. They gain weight on their arms. Meghan didn't gain look. Yeah. Look at those skinny arms. And also, why is the belly? DL is no longer the scared, silenced woman she says she once was. Now she's organized, legally prepared, and according to those around her, absolutely done with being erased. Her team says she's collecting everything. Emails, clinic bills, hospital communication, timestamps, travel logs, and even the NDA she claims was used to bury her identity. She isn't leaking. She isn't hinting. She's building a case carefully, methodically, like a woman who knows her truth has teeth. It doesn't get darker. It's as she. DL's lawyers have reportedly advised her to come forward publicly, not to destroy anyone, but to reclaim the story she says was stolen from her. There is talk of a televised interview, no PR prepped questions, no handlers, no editing. Just DL sitting across from a journalist and laying out the timeline step by devastating step. But she was stupid enough to show her skinny arms. Well, if the weight didn't go on her arms, It didn't go on her face. It didn't go on her legs. It didn't go on her bus. Her decision isn't emotional. It's strategic. She says she wants her name restored, documented, acknowledged, placed back into the story from which she was removed. And if her evidence holds, it won't just shake the Sussexes. It will provoke legal battles across the UK and the US where the alleged arrangements took place. Harry is visibly unraveling. And somewhere in the background, DL is preparing a truth bomb that could ripple from California to Buckingham Palace. This isn't just another royal scandal. It's a crisis of identity, lineage, legitimacy, and narrative.